All right, welcome everybody. Hey, sorry for the delayed start tonight. A lot of things going on behind the scenes. Um, yeah, just a lot going on. You notice that we're on Restream and not on the Bill of Rights Network tonight. Just having some miscommunication there, so we're going to continue to try and stream. But I wanted to get on tonight, and really, this is one of those things where you start something new, and you gotta keep trying and to work on things and get things perfected. So that's what I'm doing tonight. You'll notice that Mitch isn't with me tonight either. He's had a hell of a week, honestly, and yeah, he's not. For those of you that know, he's had the heart condition, the heart failure. He's got some news about that, so he's going to get checked out later this week, this upcoming week. So please pray for him, and you know help. We just pray and give him your thoughts and prayers because he needs it. And hopefully, it's just a scare and it's nothing serious, but you never know. So let's just hope for the best with him. Um, yep. So it's just me tonight, and again, I know that we're starting a little late. It's not going to be a very long show either. I just wanted to get something in because I made a commitment to y'all that I was gonna cover this information, this kind of weekly recap, and I also have some news about the Magic show. So in case y'all, the Magic the Gathering show, not like an actual magician show or anything like that. So, but yeah, if you didn't see that, we've started that Magic the Gathering show on Friday nights at 9:30 Eastern. We did our first show last night. We kind of hinted towards that last week and put that out there. So that's actually up on Rumble, and so you can find that at um, Friday Night Magic After Dark. So that's where that's at. And we had a pretty good show last night. Again, we're testing out some new things. That show, like we said, doesn't really fit on the Bill of Rights Network just because it's not really related to constitutional freedoms and things of that nature. It's more of just like an entertainment. Hey, let's play Magic the Gathering and relax and do card openings, right? That's another big thing with that. So actually had man, I'll tell you, I've been waiting for uh almost a month to open up some of those new cards that I had gotten. So I was really excited to finally get to open some last night, and we had some pretty amazing results. So I'm going to share that with y'all. Also, if the audio or video is a little messed up, please let me know. Um, yeah, I've been having issues with this camera. I'm not sure if it's the camera or if it's me, but it seems like I've got a little bit of latency with this camera. So I might have to get a new camera, which is fine. I mean, I think I was kind of planning on getting a new one anyway. This is an old one from like back in 2020 or actually 2019 even. So um gonna upgrade that for sure and hopefully don't have these issues. But yeah, that was another thing. Is last night when we started that show, I literally got it, pulled everything up, getting ready to go live, and this this camera just starts doing this weird thing that it's never done before. And I had been on the night before, tested everything, and I destroyed or uninstalled all the drivers, uninstalled all of my software because I thought maybe the software was like fighting for control over it or something, and that was causing the lag. But nope, not that. So not entirely sure what the deal is. So apologies for that as well. You know, sometimes seems like everything's going wrong and nothing's really working out for you, but you just kind of push through, and you pray to God that be with you and help you get you through those times, right? my problems in this world are not anything compared to a lot of people. I always try to remind myself of that and share that with other people to remind them that, you know, it could be a lot worse. You got a roof over your head, you got food on your plate, clean water, hot shower, doing better than a lot of people in this world. Um, Even in this country, I mean, I'm not just talking about third world countries or whatever, even in this country. So be grateful because you are blessed, and try not to let the little things, even if it's 1,000 little things, pile up and kind of put life back in perspective. Because, hey, we have some issues. We try to do a new thing and it doesn't quite work out. Well, guess what? We if it doesn't work out. We'll just do something else. Just try something new. But without further ado, let's kind of get into what happened last week. So we actually had quite a bit happening last week. First of all, they released the details on the Black Hawk crash. So it turns out that it was a female pilot who didn't uh, listen to the commands from her superior officer, a man that was in the cockpit with her, and it's probable that, her not listening to those commands is what killed all those people. Now, of course, the media doesn't, quickly goes right past that. You know, um, don't didn't spend too much time on it because it was a while ago, and that's what they do with these things. They say, "Oh yeah, we don't know the full details of this or whatever," and just hold off, wait till we get all the details, and then they move you on to a new story. And then when the new details come out and it confirms what President Trump had said, that it could have been a DEI thing that caused this issue, yet the media freaked out and said that he was racist and sexist and all that. But then whenever the actual evidence comes out, that they don't want to cover it. So that's how the media works. They just create lies, and then they misrepresent truths, and then whenever they do have the truth, if it doesn't fit their narrative, they don't cover it. So that's the value of shows like this, is where we can take a step back and say, hey, look, this is what actually happened. And covering a week in an hour or whatever is challenging for sure. But if I can do it, if we can do it, then why? Clearly, these news stations with hundreds of millions of dollars of production and you know funding can do these things. Speaking of funding, PBS and NPR don't have government funding anymore. So good for us. Good for us. You know, State funded media kind of always seemed like something that George Orwell warned us about, that we shouldn't have. One of those things. But yet here we were funding NPR and PBS. I think BBC to a certain degree too. There's others too that are being funded. So let's just make sure we get rid of all of those, because the government doesn't need to be funding media and having financial influence over said media. You know, and it would be one thing if you had some funding for a media, because I can already hear people making the argument that there's a necessary reason for that. However, the way that it was being done was just um, completely biased. So I think it was NPR was they looked at the staff of NPR, and it was 90% liberals who voted for. Now 90% is a really big number, a really big percentage, whenever you consider that 60%, or about 50, generally people are about 50-50 in this country. You look at the elections, that's how the elections decide, 50-50. So if there wasn't somebody in the staffing or in the HR that was made, or the management that were making these decisions on who we should hire and not hire, you would think it would be a little bit closer to 60-40, maybe even 60% liberal and 40% conservative. That would be more reasonable than 90-10. So clearly there was something going on there to where our taxpayer dollars were going to fund a liberal media machine. And you can tell when it happened too, by the way. NPR wasn't always like that. But when Trump came around, at very least, whenever I started following, you could really see them transition from they say that they're unbiased, and they should be unbiased. So that's the thing is if they're funded by the state, they have to be unbiased. But whenever you have uh what was it like 70% negative coverage or something like that? See, I had that all pulled up and then we had these issues. Um but that's what you're seeing with this media machine, these legacy media outlets acting as an arm for the to push forward those liberal agendas on the people through bias reporting and misrepresentations, right? Because if you're looking through it through a certain lens, you're going to skew the truth toward you, so towards your point of view, right? So anyway, uh, so NPR and PBS, I think, yeah, no more funding for you, and yeah, so that's a good thing. I think so. Unless they do it right, to where there has to be equal representation between political affiliations. But even then, it's just like in Congress, you have these fucking rhinos that are out there that just oh yeah, I'm a real conservative, and then they just vote to impeach, just like what's her face with the January 6th committee. Just rhinos, man. I mean, they're out there. They just put that R next to their name to get the votes, and then they don't follow any of it. And there should be, to some degree, um, not necessarily following whatever your party does. I don't think that that's a good thing either. But it's very clear that there are people that are acting as operatives. So that way the liberals and also conservatives do this too, where they say it's a bipartisan bill or whatever. I mean, you have to understand that that's just a talking point. Anytime you hear someone say something was a bipartisan bill, that just means they had one or two rhinos that signed on to it. So they'll say, like, with the Ukraine funding, oh, they voted against bipartisan funding for the wall for our borders, and it's like, yeah. Well, first of all, it wasn't bipartisan because the people that were actually signing on to it, who were quote unquote conservatives, aren't actually conservatives. I mean, they're very liberal conservatives. And secondly, that funding for the border package, that was more money was going to Ukraine's border than to ours. Okay, so it's shit like that that just ruins the whole thing for everybody. But anyway, so yeah, Black Hawk crash, and then we had Homan's press brief. So about 100 days, and we'll look at a little bit. Actually, there were a couple things about Tom Homan. Man, I love Tom Homan. Let me tell you, um, that man just tells the truth. He's a no nonsense person, and someone that runs this no nonsense podcast, or no nonsense tonight podcast. Like, he would be a shining example of no nonsense. Every time that dude speaks, just gold comes out, because he's so experienced and professional that he doesn't have time to really deal with the bullshit. And because he's so knowledgeable and been doing it for so long, nobody really trips him up. So yeah, they did the first 100 days. So that was another thing that came over this week. And there was a lot of media reporting on Trump's first 100 days and all that. And you had, let's see here, you had negative press coverage. It looks like there was 92% negative Trump press coverage. Um, in the first 100 days. 92% negative press coverage of Trump's first 100 days. That's insane. Okay. And whenever you add in there that, oh, let me see here. Actually, let's see. Do I have that pulled up? Yeah, perfect. So yeah, you can see here. This was a screenshot taken from Fox earlier this week. 92% negative press coverage in the first 100 days. Right, that's crazy. And then you look, and this is the thing. I mean, when Trump's asked, like, should I call him Sleepy Joe? Well, here you go, right here. 71 interactions with the media in the first 100 days compared to Biden's 21. Uh, that's it. Just it shows the difference. And honestly, Biden, I think, had a lot less press interaction after that, because man, I can tell you, we didn't see that guy for a long time. Okay, he was just kind of doing his own thing, and like, what was he doing? No, we don't really know. I don't think he knows, honestly. The only people that know what Joe Biden was doing on paper were the people that were using the auto pen to make the decisions, right? Uh, that's funny how that story just kind of went away too. That this guy was using auto pen for all of these all of these decisions, and and for someone that we know has these mental acuity issues, if it was just one or the other, then it's not as damning. But man, if you have someone that literally loses where they're at half of the time, doesn't know how to walk off a stage, okay? And then also all of their decisions are being auto pinned, man, that's a problem. So anyway, yeah, so that was the first Trump's first 100 days, and then you had Homan on there during the first 100 days, and man, they put up the mug shots and the crimes of 100 illegals that they've arrested, rapists, murderers, uh, just traffickers, just the most horrible people in this world, and uh, they had their little mugshots and crimes on posters on the little front lawn signs, and stuck in the White House lawn, and that was a great sight to see. And then, of course, the legacy media, you know, they censored that information. They censored that information from the American people. They censored illegals who raped and murdered. They censored their faces and crimes, which is the most important part, from the American people. I mean, what more evidence do you need that the legacy media is the enemy of the people than that type of behavior where they are actively censoring the truth from the American people, you know, because it doesn't fit their narrative, right? It's insane. So anyway, that was good to see. I don't know if that's actually up there or not. We got a couple of clips as well. We're gonna look at. Um, oh yeah, and then we also had Canada's election too. So another thing that came up this week was Canada's election. Let me see what happens here if I do this. Oh, it's gonna spotlight that. Cool. All right, bring me back. There we go. Oh, yep. All right, we'll do this one. I don't mind this. So yeah, we had Canada's election. I don't have a graphic for this right now. Here, let me just go back up here. There we go. There we go. See, like I said, we figure it out. It's a new tool. And just like any tool, you got to practice with it for a while before you get figured out. But um, yeah. So Canada had their election. Carney gets in. Um, man, that guy, what a globalist puppet. What an actual agent of China, right? So uh, apparently, Mark Carney had met with China back in 2017 during the whole Trump's first uh, Trump's first term, whenever he was working to set up to correct the trade policies with China. And so apparently he met with China during that time. And so as a private citizen, that's weird. And then there were also ads funded by China to push his candidacy on the Canadian people as well. It's real concerning, for America. And then you look at what happened with what's happening with the tariffs. I mean, the only people that are pushing back against the new tariff agreement globally, Canada and China. I mean, those are the biggest people that are pushing back against the US on that. Canada and China. And now you have the Prime Minister of Canada who has all these ties with China, being funded by China, whose campaign funded by China. And they're at our northern border. It should really concern people. And then if you look at it, if you look at how people voted, it was in Alberta, that province. It was voted. They voted 2-1 for the conservative candidate. 2-1. If you look at the voting distribution, you'll see that most of the votes for Carney came from this little, I like to think of it as a little ball of cities between Chicago and New York, like on the border, right? Towards that side. So like it's not even the whole eastern region. It's kind of just like this small region, smaller region, a couple hundred miles of these larger cities where, I mean, let's be honest, what they pulled in 2020 with our election, they absolutely do other places. I mean, it's other elections get fixed all the time. And whenever you start seeing that there's only a couple large cities that are deciding the the I want to say rulership for the rest of the country, who's deciding the leader for the rest of the country in just a couple cities, that looks like fraud. It should look like fraud. It shouldn't just be something that we accept, because man, how if you're gonna fix an election, it's hard to do it in all places at once. But whenever you have a small few little pockets that you can influence, that's how you do it, right? And if you have plausible deniability because there's more people in these areas than others, then you get away with it. So I think that's what happened, honestly. Seeing people in Alberta and even really all across Canada not vote. I don't see how they could vote for 4 more years of Trudeau. I really don't. Um, there's some really deranged people, but man, that dude was so unpopular. He had to step. So how to make it make sense that the guy that's like, yeah, I'm going to do more of that, gets elected? It just doesn't work. So anyway, yeah, unfortunately for Canada, that happened. But hey, maybe that gives Alberta some initiative, actually, some incentive to. Sorry, I got a little thing right here on me. I'm not quite sure. Hopefully, that gives Alberta the incentive to maybe secede from Canada, or become their own nation and be like it, not necessarily part of the U.S., but a territory or something like that. So hopefully that happens, because I have friends in Alberta that I worry about, because they've been under let's call it what it is, a dictatorship, an authoritarian regime for since Trudeau, at least. When they start taking your guns, that's when you know you got problems. Okay. They've taken all of their guns. Okay. I mean, it's not like they and then when they have these protests, they freeze bank accounts, they do all types of stuff. That's authoritarianism. That's a dictatorship. Okay. So um I don't know what's gonna happen there. I hope that that Alberta at least gets out and maybe that'll make some progress. Yep, enemy of the people. Blackhawk crash. Oh yeah, we had the minerals deal that got signed, so that's great. Hopefully that'll lead to some stabilization in the region. That whole conflict's just so nonsensical. Russia and Ukraine, of course they're warring neighbors, have been at it for a long time, but a lot of people dying, so hopefully they get that resolved. And that minerals deal is a good step. Yeah, so that's a lot of what happened this week. We also had this interview with Tom Homan that I wanna share because it was just great. So let me see this again. I don't know if this is gonna work, so we'll see. See if you get some sound there. Really low, huh? Huh. All right. Well, I'm gonna play this. I can't really tell if it's actually playing for you or not. So we'll see.
You don't have to support ICE's operations. You can support sanctuary cities if that's what you desire to do. Sanctuary cities can stand aside and watch ICE keep their community safe. Because any public official, whether you're mayor, city councilman, or governor, their number one responsibility is protection of communities. And ICE has been clear we're targeting public safety threats and national security threats. I can't believe there's any elected official, and especially a judge, that doesn't believe we should be doing that and they should be helping us. What I said from day one, you can sit aside and watch, you can argue against us all you want and protest all you want, but when you cross that line, I've said this 1,000 times, when you cross that line to impediment or knowingly harboring, concealing an illegal alien from ICE, you will be prosecuted, judge or not. And as far as releasing so many people, you know why the Biden administration released millions of people in the United States? No one ever talks about it. I'll talk about it. Why did they release people into the interior of the United States and rather than put them into an ice bed?
So in case y'all can't hear this, and my apologies if you can't. First of all, let me set this up actually. So this is Tom Homan speaking at the White House press briefing earlier this week. Okay. So if you can't hear what this is saying, my apologies. I'm going to go back and watch the stream later and then I'll figure out how all that works in the background. Like I said, trying out a new tool, got to figure out how it works. But this is Tom Homan. Like I said, Tom's a G. He's no nonsense for sure. And what he just said was, he's like, people aren't talking about this, so I'm going to talk about it. I'll talk about it. I don't care. That guy is not afraid. You can tell. That man has very little fear in this world. He's seen the worst of the worst, been targeted by the worst people in this world. I mean, he said earlier he's worked on the border patrol since 1984. Okay, that guy's not afraid. He's spent his entire life dealing with the worst people on this planet: human traffickers, rapists, murderers, cartel, all that. And they've threatened his life. They've uh, threatened his family, all that. I'm sure. There's no way that especially now, where the position that he's in, he's not afraid of the media. He's not afraid of this little nonsense that these people. Well, he doesn't play games. You can tell by the way that he speaks. And like I said, he's such an expert and a professional that You don't trip him up. He knows the law. He knows his job. He knows what he's doing. He knows what's right. That's the man that you want. So this is a hell of a pick by Trump. I mean, barring some crazy scandal or whatever. I mean, man, I couldn't be more. And if you look at the results speak for themselves. Border crossings being down 99.99%. That was another thing that Trump mentioned this week during his first 100 days speech, and maybe even at the Alabama. He spoke at the Alabama commencement as well. 99.99% border crossings down. That is insane. I think it was something like 100,000 people. There were 100,000 encounters at the border during the same time under Biden, and it was down to 7 or something like that, like single digit, maybe double digit numbers. And then Trump made the comment of like, yeah, and then I called Homan and Kristi Noem and said, hey, what the hell's going on with those 7 that got through or whatever, because that's how Trump is, and never continuous improvement, right? I mean, that's how successful people think. It's like, yeah, we've made success. Great. Celebrate it. What's next? What do we got to do next? And you can see that. And that's why we have the border crossings down 99.99%, because you have successful people who know what they're doing, who are professionals, that aren't afraid, that aren't just there to collect a paycheck. This guy really wants to push these people out, keep these people out of the country and protect American citizens. Because if there was ever an actual expert that you should look at, if you didn't believe that there was a problem at the border, look at this guy. He's done it his entire life. And the way that he's like, yeah, we have to keep these people out of this country, that should let you know he's seen some things. Anyway, this is what he's saying. He's saying, if other people don't talk about it, but why the hell did the Biden administration bring in people into the interior of the country instead of in ICE beds or facilities, right? So that's what he's saying. If you can hear it, great. If not, I'll figure it out next week. I'll just recap. So anyway, let's keep going.
Why not put them in an empty ICE bed at $127 a night rather than in a hotel room at $500 a night? They did it on purpose, because when you put them in ICE detention bed, they get a hearing in 35 days. Court records show 9 out of 10 people claim asylum, get order removal, they're gone. Well, if you release them and put them in a hotel room at $500 a night, their hearings could be 5, 7, 9 years. You pull out all appeals, and what are they hoping for that another Democrat administration's in?
So he just said a lot right there, in just that little bit. So ICE beds, $127 a night. Okay. Putting up in hotels, $500 a night. Okay. If they're in an ICE bed, they get a hearing within 30 days. If they're in a hotel or something, 5, 9 years. Maybe never. If you are going to purposely bring people in for your own agenda, for clearly, and I think if I remember correctly, he's about to talk about this. That's what you would do. So here, let's keep going.
They can warrant amnesty to millions.
Amnesty en masse.
This is about selling this country out for future political power.
Selling country out for future political power.
The law clearly says if you arrive at our border without proper documentation, you shall be detained. Not maybe, not think about it, shall. And that
law says, I love it. I love listening to this guy. Law says if you arrive at this border without proper documentation or whatever, you shall be detained. Not maybe, not think about it, shall. Very clear. Like I said, he knows the law. He's a professional. He's been doing this his entire life. He's not scared to point out the bullshit. This guy's great. Love him. Shall, not maybe, not think about it. And he has little zingers like that too, It's great.
That's what President Trump's doing. Catch and release is over.
That's
what the law says, and that's what we've done.
Oh yeah.
Carrie.
So yeah. that's a little bit I wanted to share with you from that briefing. I thought was great. Saw a clip on that. Um, he just calls it out, man. He says what other people don't say, and have we say it and then we don't hear about it for a long time. You know, I know that there's some people that have said the Biden administration was doing this on purpose, and they were. I mean, if you don't look, if you don't believe that the Biden administration was purposely bringing in illegals to pad their census results, to pad the census results, and get them additional representatives in the House and additional votes in the Electoral College, because that's based on representatives in the House. I don't think you really know how the law works, like how it actually works, because that's exactly what was happening. It's not it's not a conspiracy theory to state what was happening. Now, whether they were doing it on purpose is where people could say, "Oh, it's a conspiracy," but the end result's the same, and the end result is clearly benefiting them. So, no matter how you look at it, the end result just shows that that's what was going to happen. The people facilitating that were the ones that stood to benefit the most. It's not a conspiracy theory if it's actual based on actual facts. So we got that. And then this was another thing that just recently came out. You had the remember I talked about a couple weeks ago that there were reports of this Tennessee Highway Patrol picking up Abrego Garcia. So again, the Maryland father, right? And then yeah, and actually another thing with this is, so then Trump had an interview with ABC, which is one of the worst stations and news outlets, and the guy on there tried tripping him up on all types. It was a hostile interview as usual with these clowns. Just can't even get a fair interview. I mean, this guy. Uh, oh man, I wish I had that clip. There was something that he said, and Trump's like, "Well, you don't know that. Hey, you're saying that." He's like, "Well, now I'm asking." It's like, "No, you said that. You made a false statement." It reminds me of the Elon interview where he calls out that reporter. It's like, "Well, you just lied. You're just lying. No, you just lied." And it just kind of stops the whole interview and just like berates this guy, and just like, that's a blatant lie, bud. Trump did the same thing to an ABC reporter. It was beautiful. That guy's career is hopefully over, or probably made in the eyes of the left. Honestly, we'll probably never get rid of him now because he said some mean things to Trump. But one of the things that they talked about on that were the tattoos on Abrego Garcia's hand, and Trump. The way that he was saying is like, no, MS-13 is literally tattooed on the guy's knuckles. Obviously, it was a Photoshop where you had the letters MS-13 tattooed on the guy's knuckles above the symbols that he had tattooed on his knuckles. And I've seen I've seen a lot of different reporting from people, and clearly the gang units, people that are actually familiar with the symbolism of these gangs, they believe that those symbols represent the letters MS-13. That they very at very least uh, infer that he's a part of the gang. And I mean, look, okay. So then they get caught up on that and they start arguing in this interview about that. And the left thinks, oh, this is such a win because um, the guy has oh yeah, Trump thought the letters were actually on his knuckles. Ooh, what a fucking idiot. He clearly he's senile and we need to have him kicked out because he can't be trusted with the new codes. Meanwhile, Biden's like falling asleep while while in the middle of a speech, and freezes up for 20 minutes at a time. I mean, I know I freeze up sometimes. I lose words every once in a while. I have a word that I want to use. I'm like trying to think what exact word I want to use, but I know that happens. But anyway, no, the left are saying, Trump's senile. He thinks that a Photoshop was real. And honestly, the way that they did that, where they put the letters over the knuckles, it kind of made it look like it was real. So I could understand even if he did actually think that was real. And look, here's the thing: the difference between Trump and Biden is that Trump's actually doing shit. Like I talked about earlier, Trump's had 71 interactions with the media in the first 100 days. That's almost an interaction per day. And the dude does like 3 press briefings a day. Okay. If it's not him, then it's Caroline Levitt or one of his other secretaries, whatever. One of his representatives, part of his cabinet, doing a press interview or something, right? If it's not him directly. Biden had 21 in his first 100 days. I mean, you're talking about 3 times, almost 4 times the amount of interactions with the press. And he takes questions for hours. I mean, you talk about, okay, the number of interactions is impressive, but Biden's interactions may be like, oh, yeah, he made a couple comments for a couple minutes, maybe took questions for a couple minutes. Trump has hours long press briefings. Okay. He takes questions for hours. If not, usually, if you watch, on average, it's an hour at least, sometimes hours, right? So the amount of interaction is completely different. And he's actually, like I said, he's actually doing shit. So that's why it's easy for the left whenever they say this. It is because look, he may have actually thought that the letters were on the knuckles, right? Because if you think about it from his perspective, he's brokering peace deals for fucking Ukraine and Russia and with Hamas and Israel. You got the Iran thing in there. You've got these fucking Houthis firing on American ships. You've got the trade stuff going on. You've got all that happening at once, and you've got this weekly Doge report, which, by the way, highly recommend if you can catch one of the cabinet briefings, or if go back and watch one of the cabinet briefings. They're great because they all talk about what they're working on, so you can really see in his mind on a day-to-day basis what he's thinking about with all these other areas. We never had anything like that with Biden, and nothing ever, and you saw that almost nothing ever got done. And they just lied and said, oh, it's not a problem. Because, when you think about it, they didn't, if they didn't have to enforce a border or enforce the law, that's less that they have to do. And it's exactly what government is, right? It's a bunch of people showing up to collect a check, trying to do the least amount of work possible. We've all stood in line at the fucking DMV. We know how it is. What makes anyone think that it's any different at the highest levels? But it's not like that with Trump, because he comes in, he does the thing. You can see very clearly that they're doing so much. So that's why I say he may have actually thought that the letters were on the knuckles, MS-13, because that's what the Photoshop set, or the photo that he had showed. So in his mind, he's remembering that. He probably knew at the time that it wasn't, and even if he didn't, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, and this is the thing, because the media takes this and runs with it and talks about, oh my God, this guy had Trump thinks that he actually had the letters MS-13 on his knuckles. What an idiot. We need to impeach him because he's senile, right? Is the guy an MS-13 or not? I mean, he was picked up with MS-13. His girlfriend said he was in MS-13. We're going to watch this video of him clearly trafficking humans. He's got these tattoos on his knuckles. You had confidential informant for the police department say that he was in MS-13. Confidential informant. That's somebody on the inside, right? You had 2 appellate courts say that he was in MS-13, and then he couldn't be deported he wasn't supposed to be deported to specifically to El Salvador because of fear of retaliation from rival gangs. I don't fear retaliation from rival gangs because I'm not in a gang. I don't have a rival gang. Okay, I'm not in one. I guess all gangs are rival gangs for me. Maybe that's their argument. It's bullshit. It's nonsense. And this is no nonsense, right? So, anyway, the guy's in MS-13, clearly. It doesn't matter if he has MS-13 tattooed on his knuckles or not. But experts will tell you that those symbols or the letters are the same thing. So it doesn't matter. Anyway, let's watch this clown, Maryland dad, who actually the other thing that they released, I don't have pulled up here, is the audio from when his wife filed that protective order against him. So they have her on tape saying that he like beat her on several occasions. One time at or before her daughter's birthday party in front of another person. Okay? Just like the neighbor was there and he beat her. And the neighbor didn't know how to react. I mean, you think like you're watching domestic abuse, right? How do you respond? So you can hear the authenticity in her voice. And then just like having Stockholm syndrome, man, you know, now she's trying to retract that, and who knows? It kind of seems like she might be getting paid, honestly. But anyway, let's watch this clown participate in human trafficking.
Sure, the colors. Yeah. From Texas is good. How many rows have you got in here? 4? Where? 4 seats? 4 rows of seats? Yeah, three seats.
4 rows of seats.
Yeah, with it. Yeah. Did y'all put an extra one in? Huh? Did y'all put another one in? No. They come like this? Use the truck.
So in case you can't hear this, although I think my apologies if that was really loud compared to the last video. If the audio spiked on that and it blew out your eardrums, my sincere apologies. They're asking him right now, like, hey, how are there so many people in your car, essentially? Because they're asking him, did you put in another row of seats into this vehicle? Like, and they're like, the vehicle, does it come like this? He said, no, we didn't put no more seats. Does the vehicle come like that? He's like, yeah, sure does. They put an extra row of seats in this vehicle. All right, let's keep going.
I've never seen one with that many seats in it.
Never seen one with that many seats.
What you say? It's my boss. I said I've never seen one with that many seats. Oh, really? Yeah. That's why I was asking if you'd put an extra one in. No, it's the same. I did. Okay. You know what you got, right? You know.
So they asked it. Now the other thing with this is that he said that the vehicle belonged to his boss, and right there in the video he references his boss in the video. So that's how you know that reporting was accurate. But you know, they looked it up and found out that the guy's boss, quote unquote, was a known human trafficker. So now let's think about this for a second. He had this clown driving this vehicle with 8 people in it, no luggage. They added an extra row of seats to the vehicle, in a vehicle that's registered to a known human trafficker. They modified the vehicle to support carrying more humans that belongs to a known human trafficker.
What you got here, right? He's hauling these people for money, is what he's doing. But sometimes they come mingled open.
No, but squad in the back.
There's 8 people in there.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
They put an extra row of seats in there.
Yeah. So he's getting paid to all these people, probably to Maryland, I would say, if I had my
He
guess.
said that.
So there's actually more to that, and there's more to it. But anyway, they also talk about he had $1,200 on him as well. So he had $1,200. He had 8 people in the car with him. There was an extra row of seats in order to carry more people. They didn't have any luggage, and they all gave the same home address, that they're all going to live at the same place. And his thing is that he said they were moving from a job site from Texas to St. Louis or something like that. I'm not really sure. But ultimately he was saying that they were all there because they were working together. They don't have any tools in the car either. So, and if you know anybody that works in construction, they always have tools in their vehicle. Okay. But instead of tools, they added an extra row of seats to carry people. So anyway, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here. This shouldn't even be a question of if. It's very clear this guy participating in human trafficking. So, well, that's about all I got for last week. One other thing that happened last week, like I mentioned earlier, was we started our Friday night Magic After Dark podcast. So you can find that here. You got Friday night Magic After Dark. So last night was the first episode. You can search Rumble and find us on there. Mitch and I played a little bit of Magic Arena to start off last night. And we're going to work on maybe playing some older Xbox games or the older Magic Xbox games if it'll let us. And then I do some card openings every night as well. So that's what we did last night. And so I wanted to show you kind of some highlights from last night because, man, let me tell you, I was real excited whenever I opened this up here. So let's see what we get. This is kind of the highlight from last night, opening up these collector packs. And this one, man. Where that came from? Oh, a mocked Jasper. All right. With the border treatment too. Nice. Not serialized. Again, apologies if that just blew out your eardrum. I got real excited. I crashed the audio because so there's a couple cards that I'm looking for out of this Tarkir Dragonstorm deck. That Mox Jasper was one very high up on the list. Basically, if you don't know much about Magic, there are these cards have these counts in order or they have these costs that you need to meet in order to cast spells. Well, this one is a different type of art, or I guess land or mana that you can get to cast a spell, and they're very rare, and they're some of the most powerful in the game, and they're awesome. So this set had one. There's a serialized version which goes for about $3,000 last time I checked. So if I got one of those, man, I mean, I would have been real excited. I probably would have ended the stream and called it quits, but didn't get one of those. But this is a special version. They have you can see the border there has that the dragon scaled and wing treatment. Really, really cool borders on those. So that's a special card. It's not a holographic either. So that'd be about the only other way that card could get any better. If it was serialized or if it had a holographic on it. So that's like I think it's a $30 card now. Typically Now, whenever that first came out, it was like $100 or a couple $100, I believe. But there's so many of them right now that people are opening up all these packs. So the market's kind of flooded. Price is real low for it. It'll go back up later on, I'm sure. But don't want to sell it. It's my first legitimate Mox card. So I was real excited to open that one. So I thought I'd share that with y'all. But it's my first legitimate Mox, man. Hey, look at that. There you go. Wow. Not hollow, but still awesome. Island Dawnbreaker, another Omen. This is one we saw earlier, but this has got the dragon border and the foil treatment on it. Very cool. Very cool. Excited about that. And then I just throw it because I'm gonna drop it here in a second. It's just gonna go everywhere. Yep. That's what you do with those cards. You just toss them around. That's what you do with these cards. You just throw them around. I'm remembering commentary from last. All right, let's see here what we get here. There's the next pack there. All right, token card. Very cool. Very. Hey. All right. Just checking on something on the stream. Dragon Spray, very cool. Easy, destroy target creature. Snakeskin Veil, nice. Humbling Elder, nice. Fortress Kinguard, Rebellious Strike, Victor, Effigy, Martial Lost, Real Speed, Stillness in Motion. Oh, Elseph! Nice, bro. So that's another card. I wasn't particularly looking for that specific card, but that is like a $40 card as well. So just between those two packs and like the minute, that was the majority of the value of the night. I think actually one of the first packs that I opened had a mythic land in it as well that goes for about $40. I recognized it, but I wasn't sure exactly if that was one of them that was one of the expensive ones or not. So I didn't quite get all hyped up about that one, but those two definitely I knew. Again, there you can kind of see the regular borders on these, how they're kind of like that, and so you see the difference with the dragon scale board. I played Magic back when I was in like 6th grade, long time ago, and just kind of picked it back up recently and really enjoying it, really having the physical cards and, being an adult now and being able to spend some money on these and have fun opening them and playing with people. So, playing the games with Mitch and I play with my brother every Friday night as well. So we have our little Friday night that we do. So after I'm done with that stream now, I go and play a couple games with him until last night. It was until 4:00 in the morning. So, because one of our games took way too long. They usually take about an hour. But anyway, so yeah, that's Friday Night Magic After Dark. And like I said, you can find that on Rumble at Friday Night Magic After Dark. Also, you can find that stream on Twitch as well. So one of the things, like I said, it doesn't really fit with the Bill of Rights network. So we're doing it through this Restream app. That's why I had this available and why I was able to I literally had to set up this whole show tonight. So again, my apologies if it's not perfect. I want to do from tonight, I want to do 5% better next week, at least. I always say we try to do 1% better every time you do something, and then you will eventually get to 100% better. So yeah, apologies for tonight if things didn't go great. Like I said, I had to set this up in just a little bit of time that I had because I couldn't go on Bill of Rights Network tonight because we had some issues getting that set up. So no problems there. Hopefully we'll be back on that next week. If not, then we'll be on here on Restream and we'll do our own thing, and that's fine. Let's search for the alexjonesstore.com/no nonsense tonight. So if you go to the alexjonesstore.com/no nonsense tonight, check this out. This is your chance to win both the trucks. So right now, this is a great time to get in on the giveaway, because every entry that you have will go toward 2 different vehicles at this point. And they also have the Alex Jones signature coffee, so that's cool. I will have to let me see. Let's see if we go to the current giveaway. Let's see what it has there. Yep. So yeah, the F-150 Raptor 4. I mean, that's a good looking vehicle. And then you've also again got the Tesla. I need to. When does this end? When does this week only? Yep, $1 equals 10. So this is the time. This is so pro tip on buying stuff from the Alex Jones store. If you're gonna buy stuff from there, definitely use alexjonesstore.com/no nonsense tonight for your to get to the site to make your purchases, because that will help us. Okay, we are an affiliate for that storefront, and like I said, they do these awesome giveaways. This is your chance. You could win a Ford F-150 Raptor 4x4 plus $10,000 cash, or a Cybertruck plus $10,000 cash with the cool 1776 on the side. Man, I got to go on there and probably actually, I've been watching this. This plushie, the Save the Frogs, that looks like a good one. Right now, what I was telling you, this is the pro tip, is right now see, $1 equals 10 entries. So they do promotional periods where you can get more entries for every dollar that you spend. So normally it's 1 entry per every dollar that you spend. Sometimes if you're paying attention, it's $1 for every, or it's 1 entry, or it's 5 entries for every $1 you spend. But right now it is 10 entries for every $1 that you spend. So this is the time. And then you're also getting entered into both giveaways. So you're getting a chance to win this Raptor 4x4 or this Cybertruck. So this is the time. I know that this is Saturday night. Hell, it's almost Sunday. Get on there and get your orders in. Free coin on all orders. Whoa. 20% off all orders, free coin. Wow. Yeah. Now's the time. So, like I said, they've got some supplements on there. I've been taking this ultimate turmeric again. It really does help with the inflammation. That's what turmeric does. The ultimate sea moss is great. So I've been taking that. I've got this atomic defense. I haven't started taking that yet just because it has the sea moss in it, and I'm already taking that. So this I think I might save for wintertime, just because it is kind of made for whenever there's a lot of bugs floating around. A lot of crud. See, it's one of those times I forget the word that I'm looking for. Crud was the word I was looking for. So I might save that for that. But yeah, so that's good. Let's see, apparel. Again, no nonsense tonight. Let me put that in the chat. Here we go. I'll put it in the chat for everybody. TheAlexJonesStore.com. Put that in the chat. I'm gonna paste it up here just to make sure I didn't hit the wrong thing. Yeah. All right, cool. There's a link in the chat for y'all. Hit that up. Yep. All right. So then, yeah, let's see. So this plushie's cool. Probably gonna get that. I don't know about the coin. Maybe on the coin. Definitely. Got some hats. It's pretty cool. Got some good shirts. Let's see what they got with the t-shirts. They said this is a good shirt. If you don't have this shirt, highly recommend. Just at least pick up this shirt. That's a cool shirt. Okay. This is cool. Second American Revolution. Yeah. Good old InfoWars. Frog. Evil Lost. That's pretty cool. Kind of like the old Blockbuster. Let's see. Band.video. Yep. So this is how you can watch Alex Jones, and then so they've still got the. Oh yeah, see they're playing the. See this is the thing, man. You can get all types of good info from the Alex Jones show. They're playing right now the audio tape from the wife of Abrego Garcia. So like I said, that exists. I mean, turn down the audio a little bit so that way it's not blowing up your ears. My apologies, y'all. We'll get this figured out.
Like all the bruises, because it's not even on Wednesday. He hit me like around like 3 a.m. He would just wake up and like hit me. And then last Saturday for my daughter's birthday party, before I went to my daughter's birthday party, he slammed me 3 times. And then last week I did call the police. My sister called the police because he hit me in front of my sister.
Now I don't have time to play the squad car or the police cam video of them in that stop, and it's smuggling vehicle on record owned by smugglers. It's illegals. And that's what he does. He's a human smuggler. But you know what? Let's play a little bit of that because I got to get into this economic news. But here it is. We have this.
Yeah, so we already saw that video. Hey, you know what? This is what I like about Alex Jones, okay? The guy's been demonized by the media. There's been a war against him and his brand and himself. Now, obviously, there was the whole Sandy Hook controversy or whatever, but beyond that, the guy's he is the tip of the spear. I mean, he covers stuff that other people are afraid to cover. And sometimes he gets stuff wrong. Let's be honest. The guy gets stuff wrong, but he did call 9/11 months before it happened, saying that the CIA was going to fly planes into the World Trade Center and blame Afghanistan. I mean, blame Osama bin Laden. Right? That was what he said. That is crazy to be that level of detail. So the guy has some inside sources, and it's only grown over the years. He gets information from the inside. You hear about stuff. That's why you have the frogs plushie, right? So going back to the story, I mean, this kind of turned into me watching the Alex Jones show again, which I need to watch more. Oh, look at this. If you trust the government, you don't know history. What a great shirt, man. I don't need any more shirts though. Make babies, not war. Oh man, come on. I love it. We are not descended from fearful men. Yes, I love this shirt. I have this shirt. I will try to wear it one of the nights we do the show, just so y'all see that I actually not just sending. Look at this. This is pretty cool. Elon with the chainsaw, pretty neat. I've got this one too. Rebellion to tyrants is obedience to God. I've got that. I've got a lot of shirts. That's why I said I don't need more shirts because I have a whole bunch of them. I'm on a government watch list. I got that one. 45, 47. I don't know if he has any of the 47 shirts still. Man, he got rid of one of my favorite designs. Yeah, see, look. This is the shirt I'm wearing tonight. Look at this. 47. Okay. I wish he still had this shirt, man. This is one of my favorite shirts. I think I have 2 of them actually. So, because I did realize I like this shirt, but it's really cool. It's one of the most important events in American history. Yeah, but anyway, lots of good stuff on the AlexJonesStore.com/no nonsense tonight. Use that link, help us out. Like I said, we get 10% of whatever you spend. So that'll help out Alex Jones and his broadcast there. And a lot of it goes to fighting in courts. There's still a lot of court issues that are going on with this show. It seems like he's had some wins lately. I'll admit I haven't watched as much as I used to, but every time I do, like, man, it's great information that he's covering. So check that out. Check out the Alex Jones show, band.video. Also, War Room with Owen Schroyer, American Journal, Sunday Night Live. What is that one? The Brown Report. But yeah, there's a whole collection of videos on there. Greg Reese, he does some good information as well. And I'm not gonna lie, it gets conspiratorial and you go down rabbit holes, and some of it's not true, some of it's not that it's not true, it's just that it's not proven yet. And that's the thing with Alex Jones, for example. He said that they were putting chemicals in the water to turn the frogs gay. People laughed at him. And they said it wasn't true. It's not true. There's no evidence, blah, 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 all that. Well, he had evidence. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said it. But they just dismiss what he says as conspiracy until it becomes real. Just like saying that the dyes in the food were toxic and having these impacts on our health. Oh, that's conspiracy. That's not real. And then you look at the studies that come out, and then eventually it gets accepted. That's the thing. Facts and the truth, really, all they are is evidence that finally gets accepted by the majority of people. So that's what it is in the media, right? And that's what it is in the public eye. So if the majority of people don't agree on something, or experts don't agree, then it's not fact. It's not true. That's what they believe. Where Alex Jones has some information and says, hey, this is happening, putting chemicals in the water to make the frogs say, oh, that's just conspiracy theory. That's just crazy old Alex Jones and all that. And it's only because not everybody yet agrees on that. So, Alex Jones show. I was trying to set this up here. I think I want to see if I can set this up for y'all. Change that. Maybe I just changed that. Let's do this one. Like I said, still working on some settings or whatever. So we'll get this figured out. I don't know, man. This isn't really great. And yeah, it's like I need another camera. Oh, here we go. I figured it out. Let me go back. Sorry. So, figuring it out. Like I said, it's a new tool. Let me add. Oh, but even then, that wasn't great looking. I'm not gonna do that. No, I'm not gonna do that either. I've got some tools. I'm not gonna mess with it tonight. I think I'm just gonna end it on that. Head over there to the alexjonesstore.com/no nonsense tonight. Links in the chat. Get some merch, get entered into those giveaways. Like I said, you've got the entries for the trucks. 10 times the entries for every dollar that you spend. Ford Raptor, $10,000 cash. The badass Cybertruck, man. It's really cool. And you get some pretty cool merch or some supplements. If you're going to buy them anyway, support Alex Jones, support this show, and get some cool stuff. Maybe win a truck. And let us know if you win. If we refer somebody and they win a truck, I want to know. Okay. All right. We'll be back next week. Like I said, check us out Friday nights, 9:30 Eastern. Friday night Magic After Dark. we'll play some Magic. We'll relax. We'll just kind of chill and talk about whatever. It won't be as politically focused. Try not to use up all of our content that we have for this show on that. Just kind of talking about Magic cards and talking about other life events. Maybe just have some more personal type events, and maybe hopefully everybody, again, pray for Mitch. Poor guy's dealing with it, and hopefully he gets some good news this week. And you know what? Actually, before we end, I do want to say a prayer. We haven't said a prayer in a couple weeks, and it's not that I've purposely not said a prayer. It's just we forgot. So let's bow our heads, say a quick prayer, get you on into the next week. Say, first of all, thank you, God, for another beautiful day. Spent the day today helping out neighbor move. Great lady. Pray for her in her new place. Pray for Mitch. He's going through a lot, and hope that he gets some good news this week. Pray that give him the strength and courage and healing that he needs to make it through. Hopefully he's not got some bigger issue. We pray for all those that are out there hurting, that maybe lost a loved one, that maybe have some diagnosis, maybe they're in physical or emotional pain or fear for the future. Pray for them, God. I want to thank you again for blessing us with all the opportunities in this life, for everyone in our lives, for being here in the United States with a roof over our head, hot water, and food on our plate. And we all go through our struggles, and we want to, first of all, recognize, thank you, God, for being with us through those struggles, and carrying us through those dark times. Even if we weren't there looking for you, you were there with us, holding us up. And we pray to improve our lives, and not to be ungrateful for what you've provided us in this lifetime. So please be with those people who are hurting, who are having real world problems out there. And then please be with us as you always were, and just pray to be by your side. Please forgive us for our sins. We're not perfect. We're human. Try to be better, but thank you for creating us in this world, and just hope that it's a little bit better each day, and pray that people that need your healing and your light and your love, your work, your strength, that they find it through you. So thank you, God. In your name, pray. Amen. So, all right. Well, with that, get you on out here for the rest of the week. Hope you all have a great week. We'll be back, like I said, Friday night, Magic After Dark. Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, probably about an hour or so. And then, of course, this show Saturday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, until midnight now. So we're going to call it right here before it hits 12 o'clock. Y'all have a great night. Bye.